Welcome to Centered Presents The Future of Health. Join me, Christina Walecka, along with Dr. Molly Brown, as we dive deep into the world of brain-based wellness.
In each episode, we will explore cutting-edge insights and practical techniques that empower you to achieve optimal health and super high-energy living.
Tune in and start your journey toward a healthier, more vibrant you.
Well, Sage, thank you so much for being here with us today. This is our good friend, Sage Reinschild, and we've all known each other for some time, but Sage has a great story of empowering herself through health challenges and thriving in life. So that's what we'll go through today. Thanks for being here, Sage.
I love you guys. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, this is a really exciting podcast for us because I've known Sage since, oh my gosh,
I don't even
probably
know.
how much younger are you than Haley?
5.5 years.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Oh my gosh. So I've known you since toddler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've seen me from A to Z almost. I mean, not completely Z. I guess we're in the middle of the alphabet there, but
You're only 25.
I'm only 25.
So Sage and I have known each other for a very, very long time. And then Molly and I have known each other for a long time. And we're all Sun Valley based. And it was so funny because we were celebrating her sister's wedding. We were doing a mother-daughter kind of like bachelorette weekend. And Sun Valley is a small town, but it's when you find cool, successful females, it's like you should all get to know each other. But Sage was also working on herself, as we all are. And we were having lunch one day. And as a therapist, I'm talking to her and she's like, yeah, I like my therapist. And I go, if I can give you one piece of advice, drop your therapist for a month, a year, whatever it may be, and just go see Molly.
I have not been back since. To be honest.
It's my bad.
Actually, she told me that the first time she came in. She said, Christina told me, ditch my therapist. And so here I am.
I was like, Christina said it.
Worst
I'm
therapist
in.
ever.
Well, no, you were right.
Well, I practice
I'm doing so much
QNRT, but
better.
like I just, again, instant results. Therapy is really great for some things, but the QNRT work is so efficient, so effective, and just a great starting point. And then you can go into therapy. But send her to Dr. Molly, and here we are.
Yeah.
Changed my life. I just have to emphasize that for sure.
Okay, well, tell us where you were at, Sage, when before you came in the clinic.
I was just having like panic attacks, honestly, like every single day almost, I would say. My therapy journey, I was really trying to get help and I wanted help. And I think that's the first step is accepting, hey, I do have these issues. I'm not going to say most people, but I would say a lot of people do, and it's just not talked about. And then I opened up to Christina, obviously known this powerhouse woman my whole life. And she was like, you got to get in and try this out. And so connected with Molly. I was just an open book with her. I was like, please help me. I'm having really bad anxiety, which led into depression as well. I think they're pretty intuitive with one another to a certain degree. And I was just vulnerable, open, and she was able to take that and conform it into positive change. And I don't have panic attacks anymore. I haven't had a panic attack probably in 2 years, which is crazy. And obviously I kind of always go back to the saying, it's like Pilates. If you just go once, you're not going to see results. I love Pilates. That's also
Yeah, our
changed my
current
life.
obsession.
We love Pilates.
Gotta talk about Pilates in this podcast.
Yeah, not now. But I mean, I started seeing Molly consistently, I would say for 2 years. And then I had to move for my career for a little stint there. And now I'm back, which is awesome. But it was the consistent work. And then now I would say I basically come in for tune-ups, which is awesome. And, I'm not perfect. I have hard days, but it's truly been life-changing for me. And the fact that I'm not having out-of-body experiences anymore, just pure panic spiraling. I'm in control of my life. And of course I have hard days. I mean, nobody's perfect, but I can manage it. And it's a lot faster of a reset. I would say normally when I started going down my spiral, it was probably like a 3 to 4, even sometimes, especially with my concussions, it went on for months. And then now it's like, I'll occasionally get anxiety, normal. I mean, everybody does, things happen. It's life. It's not ever going to be a great steady line, but I rebound a lot faster between 20 minutes, 2 hours, versus days and weeks on end of feeling just awful.
Yeah. And so, Sage, I remember when you first came in, you were even you were crying right away. Like your nervous system was so high. I mean, probably all of us are wound a little higher than most people.
We all
right?
are
Like,
managing.
we all have our like types of personalities and constitutions, but you were just so, and this was like, it was everything. It was like you were in such a traumatized state that one little thing I think would set you over the edge, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It was like walking on eggshells with me. It was just
With yourself.
With myself.
Yeah.
It was not the best of feelings, but again, and I did a lot of that through working out. So I love to work out, but especially now I do a lot lighter impact. So I go on walks, I do Pilates, I do hikes, versus before, and especially being a competitive athlete, it was fight or flight. And if I wasn't in fight or flight mode, I didn't consider it a good workout, which is actually crazy.
Wow.
And so when
And the impact on your cortisol. And,
yeah, it can't be great. I was like, I'm running 10 miles every day. And if I don't run minimum 4, like I can't be calm throughout my day.
It's so funny. We haven't talked about this, and I was in that same kind of really shut down. I forget, you used some term for me.
You were, I remember, well, when you first came in,
Yeah.
you were really tense. You guys were similar,
very
probably. I was
similar.
probably the same way when
Tightly
I first.
wound.
Yeah, just really tense, like really a little bit shut down, but now I feel like you're so open and calm.
But it's how I can relate. Well, we can relate in a lot of ways, but the working out. I used to, the only way I could manage anything, like I would start my day by running minimum 7 miles or doing something so intense, because it's the only day I could get on a level that matched other people's energy without just tweaking.
100%.
And now you joke, but I'm like, I walk, I'm laying down in a workout class. I'm like, she's like, do you want to go on like a high? I'm like, nah, not for me. Like, I'm in my peaceful state.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like you can still, it's enjoyable. I work out because I enjoy it now, not because I feel like it's a job and I have to, which is really important, because that's a miserable way to live. Getting up every morning and being like, oh, gotta go run 10 miles, like see you guys in an hour and a half or however long
It's
it
an
takes
addiction,
you.
right? You're actually just looking for a neurotransmitter shift when you're working out like that. But and so Sage, explain to us how you got there, like, because that was when you were about 23, right? Where you were like daily panic attacks, overwhelmed by the world, in a job where you didn't necessarily feel positive about, but too scared to make changes, right? And you're just starting out your like working years. And like, tell us a journey of how you got there. Like, it was early childhood, multiple concussions, early childhood trauma. Just tell us kind of a little background.
Totally. And I feel like I was not emotionally regulated, and we're pretty hyperactive and go-getters. So that tends to be a common theme. Yeah. But I was just confused. I was like, what is wrong with me? And that's one of the first mistakes I made, was saying, what is wrong with me?
Yeah.
Versus, and especially from being a competitive athlete and high threshold, and you have to be perfect. And
An incredible skier.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, tell us, even like going back to there in early ages.
Yeah. So when I was 6 years old, I started ski racing competitively, like 6 or 7. I started skiing before I could walk, and me and my friends always have a classic joke that I ski better than I walk, because I hyper focus. So I'm just like, woo, what am I doing? I just ran into a table. That happens. And so I just was in love with it. I was very hyperactive as a kid. I would get kicked out of class. I was talking too much. Again, what's
we still
wrong
get
with
kicked
me?
out of Pilates.
I do get kicked out of Pilates. They're like, wait, guys, stop. I love it. But it just was always feeling, to a certain degree, skiing was my happy place. Mm-hmm. It was something I excelled at. I got good recognition in it. And I was able to, I had so much energy. I'd wake up, and you can ask my mom this, at 4:30, 5 in the morning every day. And I was like, I want to go to the mountain. Like, I'm ready to go skiing. I want to ski every day for the rest of my life.
It's not light out.
You're like, chill. And in the summers, I mean, I chased winter all year round since I was probably 11.
That's amazing.
I loved it. Yeah. And so I was like, I'm going to ski my whole life. Like, that's what I'm doing. I can't imagine doing anything else. There's no way I'm going to be as good at anything else than skiing. And that's just where I excelled. My parents put me into a million different sports. I was in gymnastics, karate, soccer. I loved soccer too. But I just spent all of my time skiing. And I mean, I would even go to bed in my race suit and race boots, because I was just so excited to get up.
I never have heard these stories. It's amazing.
No, it was kind of crazy. I was like, why do I love this so much? But again, when you're skiing, you have no room for thoughts. So I have a lot of thought processes and they do not stop. So it's like obsessive thoughts in my brain, which I think doesn't help, when you get concussions and you don't regulate anything correctly when you're impacting your brain. And so started racing when I was 6. I ended when I was 17. I started getting pretty bad concussions, I would say.
And you
13
were
years
talented
old.
from a young age, correct?
Yes, I was nationally ranked for 10 years, and then I started racing FIS when I was 16. So that's when you start scoring internationally.
And you were at the top level.
Yes, and that's where I started to kind of crumble because I had no confidence. And so I went from, being looked at heavily, nationally ranked for all these years. You're going to continue to perform. And then, I still was performing, and you'll see in the videos that we show, but I just had no confidence. Mm-hmm. And when you continue to hit your head and you don't take care of yourself.
When did the concussions start?
When I think they started at a young age, to be honest, because I was the type of person that would just send it. I wouldn't necessarily say I was better than anybody, but I was just like, let's go. Like, I'm going to go off this jump and not think twice about it.
You and your sister, too, between the trampolines and the cartwheels and the this, you guys were just
doing
all
backflips
over.
off of everything.
Yeah.
And so, Haley, my older sister, she was an insane snowboarder and always an amazing gymnast as well and soccer player. So I always had that to hold up to. And then my mom, she raced airplanes. She was one of the only females that ever
raced?
did that. Yeah. In the unlimited air in Reno. I know. It's not
crazy?
awesome.
In Reno?
Yeah. One of the first female
That's amazing.
captains at United.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so I just always felt like I had to keep up and be a high achiever or else, my family is, so why can't I be? And so where I think I pushed myself over my comfort zone to try and be a high achiever. I've also been the same size since I was 10. So I was a really big 10-year-old, and then that didn't help when everybody grew past me. And I just wasn't taking care of myself. So when you start hitting your head, you can't regulate your emotions.
Yeah.
I couldn't sit through class because I couldn't even stare at a screen without, I had a
Because your
migraine.
eyes?
Well, at one point I had a migraine for 4 months straight.
From ski crash?
From specifically skiing.
Yeah.
I was throwing up, blacking out. I couldn't even open my eyes because, and I'm still very light and noise sensitive, but it was miserable. Mm-hmm. And then I wasn't able to I had to quit because of these
And so
issues.
you quit at age 17?
17, which I didn't want to. And I still get emotional about it, which is so lame.
Yeah.
But I love skiing still.
had to.
And I stopped for 5 years completely. I maybe skied 10 days collectively when I was skiing probably 120 plus days a year.
Oh my gosh.
So, at least, honestly, maybe more some years, maybe less, depending.
Yeah.
But I had to stop, and it was heartbreaking, and I felt lost.
For sure.
And I was like, how do I move on? This was what I wanted to do for the rest of my life.
Honestly, it's a common thing with athletes. We see that a lot in this town where the athletes can barely make it through their high school career due to injury or concussion. Mm-hmm. And so the concussions lead not only to physical, like, you can't position yourself in space properly. So your balance is off and you're more prone to concussion. But then it leads to that heightened sensory overload and sensitivity, as well as increased anxiety and depression. You can't focus, your vision's off. You had to stop skiing, unfortunately, but there's a positive ending to this story.
Yes. Everything happens for a reason, truly. I love skiing. I still love it. And now I have a lot of fun with it.
Yeah.
And I think there's a big gap, especially in the ski world, where you're so competitive and, I heavily respect all the World Cup skiers. They crush everybody, and that was my dream, and they slay, good for them. But for me, you don't need to be the best of the best to go out in the mountain and have fun. And you can still go do your thing, and you can still enjoy the mountain. And then I also have a new passion, and I really do believe that no matter, especially, when you're young, and we're all pretty young over here, if you highly succeed in one area, there's no way you're not going to highly succeed in another area. Mm-hmm. And my biggest advice to especially young athletes would to be, you're not going to be good at everything. Mm-hmm. And I feel like when you are a high achiever, you expect yourself to be good at everything. Mm-hmm. And that was kind of like one of my first jobs out of college. I loved everybody I worked with, but the job was not the right job for me. Mm-hmm. And it was miserable. And I learned a lot. So I'm really grateful from that. But it was really hard for me because I was like, I'm not good enough. I'm not understanding this.
It's almost like it's so interesting because it's almost like the very success that is so validating and so supposedly like increases your self-confidence is the thing that if you don't continue or something happens and you can't continue that success, you can never achieve that, right? So it actually steals all your confidence.
Leaves you with no identity, no
Yeah.
confidence. You're lost.
And again, it just wasn't the right position for me, and that's okay. But I was viewing it as, hey, I'm not good enough versus this isn't the right position for me. This is a weakness of mine. I was basically running Excel models all day, working on pitches and presentations to take investment committee to raise capital to then execute industrial buildings nationally. And I'm very passionate about that. And I still do that.
You were born to do cold storage.
I do.
That's what I say. You're the only person I've ever met that was born to do cold storage.
I have a lot of fun with it because
you're good at it. Right?
Well, thank you. And so now I switched positions roughly a year and a half ago, and I'm on the brokerage side. So I do a lot of tenant representation, like agency leasing for the landlord representation side, and then debt equity raising for these facilities. I'm client facing, I'm pitching, I'm winning business, and executing it nationally, which I'm really passionate about. And it's the same vertical I was in before, it's just a different position. And just because that position before, running models and math all day, I can do back the napkin math quickly. I can assess a building, let you know the value of it, but knowing all the nitty gritties of the construction draw and when it hits and how that affects our IRR, and it's very, technical. That wasn't for me. And to be honest, I was never great in math. Yeah. I would copy the numbers down wrong. If I'm copying and pasting, I'm good to go, but if I have to write it down, it might be botched. And that's a weakness of mine.
Tell us how that changed. So you had great success as a youth athlete, right? Then you kind of succumbed to injury, and that devastated you because you loved your sport more than anyone ever.
Yeah.
Right. And then you went to college, and then you continued to suffer from the high school concussions with greater and increased anxiety. Then kind of lost your confidence, went into a job where you didn't feel totally fulfilled, having panic attacks every day. And then that's when we met. So tell us how that changed through the nervous system work, even the aim at work, right?
Oh, yeah.
How you're able to rebuild your body. Tell us the change that you had.
So when, I started seeing Molly originally, and I went pretty consistently, I think 3 to 4 times a week for a while. I just started noticing a shift. And again, I was very open and vulnerable with Molly. I was like, I don't feel like I'm performing here. And she was like, that's okay. If you don't feel you're performing there, you're going to perform somewhere else. Like, you have such a high threshold, you can do this. And so the work she does, and again, I'm not great at explaining it. It's a little bit over my head. I'm a real estate gal, but it just calmed my nervous system to where I was able to go execute, and I was able to make phone calls. And so that's really where I was continually able to, grow my career. Yeah. And so now, I'm just on the cusp of things. Brokerage is kind of a long haul, but I'm working with top producers nationally at a nationally renowned firm, representing Fortune 500 companies. And they listen to me and they respect me. And that's my path forward. And I'm able to do that through the confidence I've gained through your guys' work, which is truly amazing. I would not be in the position or nowhere near the position right now if it wasn't for Center, truly. And I can say that with confidence because I didn't feel that way. I was like, oh, maybe real estate's not for me. Yeah. No, that's not true. It's a very broad vertical, just like anything you really go into. And just because one thing isn't for you doesn't mean you can't go crush it in another. And that's the same with skiing. Just because competitive alpine ski racing isn't for me doesn't mean that me having fun on the mountain and skiing and having a good time and amping everybody up and loving Sun Valley and wherever I'm skiing that day, that's for me. And I'm able to do that now. And I didn't ski for 5 years. And I feel like through this work, it gave me the confidence to go, hey, I respect and I definitely care about people's opinions, but I'm going to go do my thing. Yeah. And I'm going to lean into Sage. And 2025 and this is like Molly and I's classic, I'm leaning into myself this year. Yeah. And I, of course, respect everybody and I respect everybody's opinions, but It's time for me to grow and lean into my strengths.
Well, it gives you the peace and stability. I think this is one thing we don't highlight enough, the peace and stability to make the right choices for yourself.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times,
Well, to honor yourself.
honor yourself. And especially at that phase too, like again, like coming out of college, we're expected to get jobs. We're expected to know what we're doing. No, like you don't know what you're doing.
No, honestly, you don't.
You don't know who you are. You don't know, like 20s are for jobs, 30s are for careers, 40s are for making money, and 50s are for spending it is what I always go back to. But again, you can kind of bleed some of those into each other. But you don't know what you like. You don't know what you're supposed to do. The 2-month internship you did in college doesn't give you enough information. So like it gives you the peace of mind to be able to really make clear, conscious decisions and not worry about like, or focus on the repercussions, like focus on the positive and know you're going to move forward with success, with the ability to grow and learn from whatever it is you choose.
Be able to pivot with whatever life throws you, right?
Throws at you.
And so what I love about where you are now, Sage, is like you took your love of skiing, right? Like you know, it wasn't, you didn't ski in college, you stopped skiing, like you said, for 5 years. But you still love skiing, and you were sad. You were in Los Angeles for a little bit, and you were sad not to be here because you're like, I love the mountains, right? Like when I'm not in the mountains, I miss them.
Same. I always want to come back. I'm definitely a mountain girl. And so I think I was so shut off from skiing. I was like, I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough for the sport, right? Mm-hmm. So I have no place here. Yeah. But there is a place for me. I mean, there's a place for everybody everywhere. That's really my opinion. Again, if you can compete and do really well at something, you have so many other verticals. Yeah. I just really think leveraging your strengths and recognizing your weaknesses. Yeah. And everybody has weaknesses. You're not going to be good at everything, and that's okay. So
and everybody has strengths.
Exactly. And so work with the people that have, vice versa, right?
So I have to tell a story though. So where you were thwarted with you were fashion people, right? So you didn't have the outfits you wanted. So you created a whole plan
That's literally it.
around doing a ski Instagram, which is so popular now. You've built into this really fun kind of lifestyle Instagram where you just really do such a fun job of showing the skiing and stuff, because our mountains are so unique, right? So you started this social media account called Ski with Sage.
Oh yeah.
And it's just in your turns, like when we'll show the video later, but we have a video of you racing at a really young age with like really advanced perfect turns. Post concussion, just like the balance is really off. Like
I just have no confidence.
It's
honestly embarrassing. And I was so embarrassed about it to where I couldn't even get help.
Well, and you didn't have tools, right? But then now you're watching your skiing and your turns are so good. Even you said your family commented on it, right? Like your turns are so good. So it's such a story of triumph where you're taking your love of skiing now with like your career where you're just, doing so good in every aspect of your career. And you could take that love of skiing you had as a small child and use it as like just a joy in life, right? Where you're feeling good, your body feels good.
Body's never felt
nervous.
Better.
Yeah. Your nervous system's good, and you can just showcase this love of skiing, and it's been a successful account.
And it's just for fun, truly. And
just for fun, yeah.
And that's one thing, especially when you are a competitive skier and you stop, you're like, oh, well, I'm not Lindsey Vonn or Michaela Schifrin, and they're the best of the best, and I look up to them, and I still look up to them. I always will. Yeah. But that's not my goal. I don't need to be the best of the best. I can go have fun. I want to, rep the brands that are willing to have fun with me, and you
Look
don't
amazing
need
doing it.
Thanks, queen. So do you. And it's all about symmetry, and that's what I love about skiing. And I lost that during my concussions. I mean, we'll see in the videos, but I look not confident. I'm completely on my inside ski, which is just honestly like my jaw cringes when I watch these videos. But but it's okay. Yeah. I was going through a hard time, and I wasn't able to fully admit it to myself, and I wasn't getting that right help to then bounce back and perform.
Small child.
I was.
Well, actually, it's like I love working with concussions. How I found a lot of the work I do is because of my own concussions and injuries, but there really is no solutions for concussions. That's why I like working with them, because we have amazing concussion solutions. But it almost always ends a career, even ends like we have all the time people who've come in post concussion and they've missed 7 months of school at their sophomore and junior year.
And it's great. Like community school was very receptive, and I was able, and with the ski academy, they have tutoring systems where I was able to keep on pace, and they were flexible with me, which is really awesome. Not a lot of schools would do that. So shout out to community school on that one, but it was just painful. And I was like, why am I not good anymore? Like what happened?
Right. So stole all your confidence.
And I was like, I'm not good enough.
Yeah.
Versus, Sage, you're injured. Of course you're struggling. I didn't recognize that. I was like, I'm not good anymore. I'm never going to be able to succeed. I went to 5 different specialists. They were all like, you've got to stop. You can't keep skiing with these head injuries. I'm happy I can recreationally ski now. But it was, I don't know. I kept going on up until probably I started working with Molly. I'm not good enough. Why can't I ski anymore? I'm not good enough to do it. Why is this job not for me? I'm not good enough.
Yeah.
And instead of saying I'm not good enough, why not, one, work on the problem, assess the situation first, and then leverage your strengths. And that's really what I'm learning. And again, me digging in a model is not my best use of time because, again, I'll value your building. It'll be right in the range. But when it comes down to obtaining capital to then execute, I'm probably not the best person for that. And that's okay. I can pitch to tenants, I can pitch to landlords, I can pitch to capital. But me running the entire behind the scenes of the presentations and the nitty-gritty work isn't for me. And that's okay. And and there are people who are completely opposite.
Yeah.
And so we need to work together. Yeah. And that has no one, again, different. You might be good at science, you might be good at math, and I'm good at art. Who knows what it is? I'm not good at art, honestly. I was just using that as a reference. But
collaboration is the key.
But it's like about collaborating and leveraging each other because we'd all eat the same ice cream if we all had the same thought process. That's why there's different verticals across the board. And so, again, I think just recognizing that to where you can move forward in your best practice. And you're going to have to try things that make you uncomfortable. And there might be things that make you really uncomfortable for the first year or two, and then you absolutely crush it and execute it. And it takes time to realize what your strengths or weaknesses are. But don't be harsh on yourself during those times because it's life. And me crying every day is not doing a solid for me.
Also accepting when things are just for fun.
Exactly.
Like I admire my dad a lot, who we were forced to play piano our whole lives, and he decided to take it back up when we started again 25 years ago. He's the only one who stuck with it.
That's great.
And he's amazing at it. And he picked it up like late 30s. I know. I'm like, but he does it for fun. He does it. It's not like something he puts pressure on.
Just to enrich his own life, right?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And that's like what I've done with skiing now.
Exactly.
And so you can still have passions and have fun, but you don't need to take life so seriously. And of course you want to be, again, we're all pretty type A over here. So when I say don't take life so seriously, it's because we literally take life way too seriously.
Always improving.
Exactly. But take a chill.
Always working on ourselves.
Exactly.
Always.
I'm like, do things that you enjoy and take a breath. Yeah. And it's all going to work out as long as you're pushing the ball forward. You don't need to, sprint with it. That's going to exhaust you and burn you out.
Yeah.
But keep moving it forward, keep doing the right things, and you're going to do things you're not good at. And that's okay, but recognize it. You don't
recognizing
need
it, not letting it steal your confidence, and then just pivoting when you need to pivot, right? Like I feel like that's what you've done in the last couple of years. Like you came in from being stuck in like a certain state and actually in many areas, right?
Yes.
And then you move forward and kind of learn that resilience, learn how to pivot in life. And if you can
pivoting.
We're all still pivoting. Yeah.
Even
we always have
I had
to.
a session yesterday and I was like, oh wow, my hormones are off. That's something I didn't even realize.
Yeah.
And so I always put other problems. I was like, well, I'm having all these issues. And she's like, oh, well, that's actually hormonal. I didn't know. And this is where, you guys are really good at pinpointing. You can come into Centered and you might think you exactly know what's wrong with you, and then you're completely off. And I've truly realized that. I was like, oh, this is trauma, this is PTSD. Yeah. And I'm like, well, part of that, I think there's certain sections, but I have anxiety. Why do I have anxiety? I'm very hyperactive. I'm very harsh on myself. I'm a perfectionist at the end of the day. And you don't need to hold that on yourself. If we can balance
that, our goal, like everyone has their constitution and how their kind of innate makeup is. But our goal through the neurofeedback and community and the nervous system work and the brain training is to balance out that state. So no matter what your innate constitution is, you can be at your best with it. And so, and so like that hyperactivity where if you're crippled in anxiety and you're not able to move forward and you're having panic attacks will shut you down, that can be your greatest strength in a cutthroat career. Like real estate is, I would not be cut out for real estate. Like I can tell you that, like I wouldn't be able to survive it, but that hyperactivity gives you that relentless pursuit of, being so good at what you do.
And it's just like the follow up, and it's really about consistency. And that's one feedback point I got from one of the vice chairmen last week at the company I work at. He was like, "You are the most persistent person I've ever met."
Yeah.
He's like, "I will ignore you for 2 weeks straight and you will call me 5 times. And I'm like, "Hey, I just need to get a hold of you." And he's like, "No, I love it because we're getting the deal done now because of that nature." Yeah. And so again, leverage your strengths. I'm great at follow up. So leverage that, use it into your assets. You of course always want to be really respectful of people and their time, and you need to make sure you're bringing them something worth their time. Yeah. And I think really thinking holistically about the situation and leveraging your strengths to then, hey, instead of let me pitch you on helping me, let me pitch you on how I can help you. And that's going to benefit me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what I've really learned with your work as well. And that drives my confidence to go do it again. And I get some negative feedback. I'll call, because I do a lot of business development. That's part of my game. And I'll call people and they will shut me down and hang up on me. And I send them a note and I say, "Hey, I'm working on X, Y, and Z nationally. I'm surprised you don't want to talk, but I'm happy to set up a call next week because I can bring you business." They set up a call with me next week. I'm not pitching you on how I can, make money off of your business. I'm pitching you on how I can bring you business and make you more money. And it's a totally different mindset versus, of course, hey, I'm going to be benefiting from this as well. But at the end of the day, I want what's best for my clients. And if me making less or X, Y, and Z, I'd rather do best by people because what goes around comes around. And that's one thing I've learned with this work as well. Like if you put the time in, it will pay off. And even the last 2 months, I've been crazy traveling with work. I swear every week or every other week, I'm going somewhere, which is really great for my business. And so I wasn't able to get in as much. But even just one reset yesterday, when you go on a long hike and you're like, wow, I feel so zen. Like, this is crazy. Today? I did. Yeah. Well, even last night I was like, wow, I feel so calm.
Yeah.
And so
I'm so glad.
It's crazy.
It's a useful tool. I always need a reset, but sometimes you need it more than others.
Exactly.
I always tell people, I would take one every day. And Molly and I prioritize, we try to reset each other as much as we can because we know how much we need it as well. And neuro,
it's a tough world, right? Like it's just,
I think everybody needs therapy, I swear. That's just my opinion. There's always something going on somewhere and there's so much work to be done. In my opinion, it's like an essay. Your essay is never going to be perfect. That's how I view my health and wellness. I can always be better. Yeah. And I need to work on that. And there are months where, hey, I feel like I'm going backwards. Okay, reset. Let's move forward on a positive path. And how can I best approach the situation? Yeah. And that's like any sport. And I view mental health the same way. You're going to feel so good and you might have a hard time, but then you can execute higher. Yeah. And it's
about having that support system, right? Like there's challenges that come at us every day, but if you know you have a trusted network or trusted tools, you can always use them. The hard thing is if people know they have the tools and they don't use them, they're not going to improve. But if you show up consistently and do the work when needed, you can keep moving forward in life. And I just think that's what we all need to support each other on that level.
Well, it's like we work out to take care of our bodies. We sleep to get energy. Like you have to keep your mind, take care of it as well. That's a big part of the work.
And I think sometimes when you are a competitive athlete, you feel like you're hitting such high thresholds all the time. And even in work too. And you need to execute here, here, and here, and here. So you start taking away from yourself. Mm-hmm. But if you're not putting 100% into yourself, you're actually not executing across the board. Mm-hmm. And so I wake up really early every day because I like to do my 1 or 2 workouts before work. I'm crazy. And then I'll try and do a sauna or a cold plunge because that's what optimizes me for my day. Yeah. And I try to be at my desk by 8:30, depending on when my meetings start. And then, I worked in Los Angeles last year. I went into the office every single day. I'd get to the office at 7 a.m. and I was there until 5 or 6 p.m. And that's great. I'm dedicating myself to work. I, to a certain degree, felt like I was not taking care of myself.
Yeah.
My workouts weren't as great. I wasn't sleeping as much. And I felt it. I felt like I was getting puffy. I didn't feel like I was as efficient. And then I was able to move back a couple months ago to Sun Valley to where, you know, I can work hybrid, I call it, because I travel.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, I'm technically hybrid. I bop around to different offices.
Yeah.
And I prioritize myself.
Yeah.
I'm going to sleep. I'm going to bed early tonight. I'm going to leave this event slightly early because I'm going to get up tomorrow and replenish myself, and I'm going to work out. And I mean, eating whole foods and healthy is also a huge component of this. I feel like there's so many fads and trends of, oh, eat this or use this sweetener. Eat whole and well. That's a huge component.
And the other thing is just, Sage, you and I have talked about this, but you've kind of gradually moved away from alcohol, right?
Yeah, I rarely drink. I would say I maybe have like 1 to 2 drinks a month. Like if it's my friend's birthday, you know, I'll have a drink, or if I'm with a client dinner, but
when
I
you're
just don't
talking
feel
about
as
waking
good.
up and, you know, getting your workouts in, and like, who has time really, right? Who has time for
Not feeling optimized.
anything except for like really focusing on your own personal health. And
Agreed. And I always get that. People are like, how do you have so much time for this? And I'm like,
because they wake up
I
at
don't.
4:30.
Yeah, literally. I wake up at 5 a.m. I
Yeah.
go to the gym, or I go to Pilates.
Yeah.
I go on my walk, hike, and then I'm at my desk, and then I work, you know, 8 to 12 hours. And then I'll try and go on a walk in there too. And I feel like I'll get shamed by people sometimes. So like, how do you do this? And I'm like, I'm not partying. I'm not drinking. I'm not at all these events. And if I am, I'm still happy to go, but I'm going to try and leave early to where then I can feel optimized. And, you know, there are times where, hey, I go have fun. And then the next day I just feel so anxious and awful. I'm like, I'm not feeling optimized. Why did I do that? And it's okay. I mean, you should go have fun. You do you, but I'm going to do
ebbs
me.
and flows. Like I very much live by routine, but when I'm home in LA and I haven't been social for a while, I make that a priority because being social,
Connection.
when you are work balance routine is my priority 99% of the time. But then I do need the social, and that needs to become my priority when I have the chance to have it be my priority.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. And like, you should do that. And like, there are times where I do that as well. And then, but I do see how it affects me. I'm like, wow, I'm not thinking as clearly. I feel a little, I don't know. For me, for some reason with alcohol, especially United States made alcohol, I don't know what it is.
Cabo's fine.
Cabo's fine. Mexico's good.
No, it's much more pure.
I can't even sleep.
Yeah.
When I have like one glass of
You probably can't
California
metabolize
wine,
it.
I'm up all night. I'm just there, eyes closed, brain won't shut off. And so that's why I just choose to keep it easy.
Yeah.
But again, hey, there are times where I get riled up, but it's rare at this point.
But you can also be social and have fun without alcohol and sacrifice. Again, it's not all about going out, being social, having alcohol, sacrificing the next day or sleep. It's sometimes just about not drinking or partying, but being around the social and knowing, you know, I do need to sleep in a little bit more because I was out later the night before.
Totally. And you can prioritize that. And it's good to take days off. And you have to really listen to your body too.
Yeah.
And so that's where like the high intensity workouts, I wasn't listening to my body. I'd wake up and I'm like, wow, I'm exhausted. Even in college, I would go out till 4 a.m. And then I'd wake up at 7 because I needed to work out before going to school for 8 hours.
Right.
And there was no balance.
Yeah.
And I wasn't prioritizing myself. And honestly, we could pull up a photo of my college self. I did not look good.
College was a great time for all of us.
College was really crazy.
Well,
but I learned from it.
it's also a good point too, like living in cities where you're a little bit away from nature. It's not always great for your mental health. Some people can't. It's harder for them.
I struggle with it a lot.
Yeah, I do too when I'm in cities. Some people do really well with it and like thrive on that environment, but I do better being closer to nature and in a quieter place. So having come through like, you know, a high at age 12 and then a decline in mental health and physical health and, you know, into high school, but now being empowered into your 20s, right? And starting out your career. How do you feel now? Like, what are you excited for? Like, where's your priority in terms of your balance?
Totally. Well, I would say like the way I feel is like how I felt when I was 12. Like I felt like I was on top of the world. I
Right
was
now?
skiing well, yeah, and I
that's awesome.
feel the same way. I feel like the world's my oyster,
Yay.
and I have so much potential. And again,
Yeah.
there's hard days, deals blow up in my face on the regular, but then
But you
others
can
do
be
not.
resilient, right?
And
You're not
you
taking
can
it
create
personally.
another
Yeah.
deal out of a deal that just went dead.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I've really learned from my senior broker is when something goes wrong in this deal, you
Yeah.
just learn so much information. We can create another deal out
Right.
of it. Why are they moving? Why is this for sublease? Why is this for lease? Where are they going? When,
Yeah.
why, and where? Similar to your work, I would say Molly's really good at pinpointing when, why, and where. Again, there was things I didn't even know were an issue for me, and she was able to pinpoint it without even me speaking, which is really unique because I was doing talk therapy prior and EMDR, which, you know, is helpful for sure, but I couldn't even pin down. I was not emotionally regulated in the slightest.
Right.
So how am I supposed to know what's wrong with me?
Then that's where exactly it. That's where the nervous system reset. Like, let's reset your nervous system so you can even process what you're doing and where you're at, and you know where you went awry, and then make changes. If you don't bring in the nervous system into the reset, you can't get to where you want to get to because you're just talking, and your nervous system is still emotionally charged around whatever childhood stresses, whatever injuries, whatever disappointments in life you've had. When you bring in the nervous system reset, you can take the charge out of the situation, process it, and move forward in a positive way that benefits you, right?
Totally. And I even noticed like I would take things out on people and I don't even know why.
Yes.
Versus now, I mean, it still happens occasionally. I'm not perfect. Don't get me wrong. But Molly knows. But
No, we all do.
We
And
all
so
do.
but
sad
I
because,
can
like,
recognize it and like, oh, I was feeling this way because of
Yeah.
X, Y, and Z. And now I'm going to work on it and I can get over that and I can apologize and own up. Hey, that wasn't my best day. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And I'm working on it.
Yeah.
And people are receptive to that.
Yeah,
It's like
for
when you make a
sure.
mistake. Hey, I made a mistake. I'm moving forward, but I'm going to try not to do it again because I'm going to implement X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
And that's all you can really do. Everybody makes mistakes. Nobody's perfect.
Yeah.
And again, coming from a child, I wanted to be perfect and I wanted to be good at everything. And I wanted to be an overachiever in everything I did. And
It's a
that's not
hard
possible.
dynamic. Like, that's a really hard dynamic, the perfectionist dynamic, right? Because it's like you can start off behind of everyone and try and get there, or you can start off at the top, and then it creates a lot of anxiety at a young age. Like, how could anyone sustain being
can't.
perfect? You know?
and it's really tough with siblings because you're constantly competing with them and comparing yourself to them. And I think that's where, again, people need to be more aware of how do we amplify and focus on the great qualities of each individual child and build them up for those things. Like, again, everyone has their strengths and everyone has their weaknesses, and focusing on the strengths and why the differences are strengths would be really helpful for children growing up in those kind of dynamics.
And then you can leverage each other too, right?
Yep.
Like my sister Haley, she's really good at like the attention to detail on the numbers and the thought process. And I'm really good at getting out and like talking about it and kind of going out of the comfort zone. So, you know, we can work together in that way.
That's what we all need, right? Is to work together, collaborate, and lift each other up.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Always be lifting.
Always be lifting up. And that's one thing too, I noticed, especially in an individual sport, all of my friends were people I was racing against. So it's really hard, right? And I never really I was like, we're not competition. Of course we are. I mean, when you beat me, yeah, it sucks. But hey, when I beat you, it sucks for you too. But let's not have that, like, let's not feel that. Let's be like proud of each other.
And make each other better.
Exactly. And it's healthy competition. So that's how you have to look at it. And you need healthy competition because you're never going to get better unless you don't have it.
Unless you're pushed.
Exactly. You need to get pushed. So that's where I look up to all these females, right? In the commercial real estate world to the ski racing world. And I still value and look up to them. And I wasn't able to accomplish what they could, but that doesn't make me less than.
No. We all have our
And I'm
strength
accomplishing
talents.
other things, right? So it's just different.
Yeah.
And that's okay. And it's okay to be different.
Yeah.
So that's just the one thing I guess I would tell people.
Yeah.
I was always so hard on myself. I'd be like, wow, I can't believe I did that. Or I can't believe I did that turn wrong and I botched it there. And, you know, hundies matter. Like your hair needs to be perfectly slicked back. You need to make sure nothing undergarments are messed up. I mean, even to your boot buckles, because there was this one girl I was always like one hundie apart in. On every run, we were like
Ski
1 to
racing.
2 hundies apart. And so it's hard not to beat yourself up.
Yeah.
Like, wow, if I didn't just put my pole in that place, I could have won. Like, how do you get over that? But that's not what it's about.
No.
So
Always another race.
there's always another race.
Yeah.
There's
Always
always
move forward.
another deal. There's always, again, other people you're learning and leveraging off of. And I also think like understanding other people who also have your strengths and learning from them. Because if you don't do that, then you're kind of holding yourself back, in my opinion. So I don't even view it as competition. I view it as uplifting each other.
Yeah.
And it's hard to view it that way
in
sometimes.
a mirror.
Who has the best clothes?
We're so similar, but I always look at her like, how can I be better? How can I improve? Like, she teaches me so much every day.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh,
You know
thanks.
that?
Oh, I feel the same.
I love it.
Well, Sage, thank you so much for being here and telling us that story.
Thank
Go
you.
follow her at Ski with Sage.
Yeah. Yeah. Tell us how to,
Yeah.
tell us your social media accounts.
Just Ski with Sage, right?
Ski with Sage, yeah.
TikTok and Instagram.
Yeah, I don't really I'm not great at TikTok, honestly.
The
I'm always
Instagram's
like,
the
"Ugh,
amazing
that's
one
really
that
my Instagram.
blew up this winter.
Yeah, I just
Yeah.
started it in December, Christmas Eve
Amazing.
is when I started it. And I started posting every day. So they're really
Yeah.
just ski videos. Now I'm kind of silent, but hey, we're
not
going to get
ski season.
skiing again. It's not ski season. So you're going to see some
Yeah.
working outs and hikes.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah, and
But I
you've just
love
done
it.
a really good job with like getting sponsors, working with Sun Valley. Like I've heard every idea before it's happened, and you made the whole thing happen.
Well,
Yeah,
thank
it's
you.
really fun.
She's good at that. She knows.
I want to see, I'm trying to like, hey, help me help you, right?
Yeah.
And so I raced on the head platinum team when I was racing competitively, and now I'm picked up by head again. And it's great. And so it's different, right? But I still get to execute the same thought process. And now it's just for fun.
Yeah.
Well, again, thank you so much for joining us. We
thank
love
you.
spending
Thank you so
time
much,
with
Sage.
you.
I love spending time with you guys whenever you want.
Thank you for joining us on today's episode of Centered Presents The Future of Health. If you're interested in learning more, please visit us at drmollybrown.com or email us at media@drmollybrown.com.